from the great white north, right? Like up above the States?
Yeah.
The big landmass that the rest of the world hates?
Yeah.
Well, we're like above that. Fucking north, I guess. The big patch of trees where everybody's bored to death. We're just chilling up here, sipping syrup, playing hockey. Before we learn to walk, we can cross-check properly. Just rocking plaid jackets. Chainsaws, we operate them right. Fucking A-right we do, bud. We cut our weight in firewood. Every 20 minutes or so. Smoke break. And if the Leafs make the playoffs, I'll fucking jump in the lake. Fucking buddy comes over to my place the other night and he's like, you wanna go out for a rip? And I was like, fucking right. Yeah. So we hop in the truck and hit the mud and I was like, oh, fuck yeah, bud. Just out for a rip, are you, bud? Just out for a rip. Just out for a rip, are you, bud? Just out for a rip. Just out for a rip.
All right. Well, we're in for the second edition of Out for a Rip, Are You Bud? And I got a special guest here. And he's not from my typical triathlon channels. He's, well, he got into a little bit of virtual fame riding in Zwift the past year or so. And climbed his way all the way up to number 1 riding Zwift. And we're going to get into that story now. And also just do start with a little background on Samuel and yeah, how we got into this. So, welcome, Samuel.
Hi. Hearing you quite bad right now, but...
Okay, I stopped the music, so maybe that's...
No, I can hear you.
Yeah, nice. Okay, so, yeah, and Samuel is from, well, I'm living in Sweden, of course, and Samuel's from way up in the north of Sweden. Not all the way up, but
yeah,
pretty far up that the summer's like, how much summer do you get up there?
3 months.
About 3 months worth of summer. So, and,
from middle of May we can bike outside.
Right. Although you do ride some mountain bike outside in the snow.
Yeah. Many layers of clothes and warm shoes and everything, but
probably a layer of ice over the face.
Yeah.
And so in the summer, in real life, you do some MTB marathons, some different MTB events, mostly across Sweden, or?
Yeah, mostly in Sweden. I have done a couple of races in Brazil and South Africa, some marathon races in Norway. I've done 3 Masters World Championships in mountain bike.
Okay.
But I have not won that one of them.
And then what was it, about a year and a half ago, you started testing out this Zwift program and getting some indoor training doing that.
Yeah, I started last winter, the beginning of the last winter, just for fun. Well, the winters are long up here, so we need to do the training a little bit easier. So Zwift makes it a lot more fun.
Yeah, absolutely. I used to absolutely hate indoor training, and we don't have weather nearly as bad as you do down here, but I still much enjoy getting some of my riding done in Zwift and pushing myself a little harder than I otherwise could. So
it's easy to push yourself a little bit harder, and when you don't know really what to do, and it feels hard, then it's very easy with Zwift.
Yeah, especially when you're older guys like us, then you don't have that natural testosterone boost that the 20-year-olds have. So
no, we need some guys chasing us.
Yeah, exactly. So you had done some racing last winter, and then at some point this fall, all of a sudden you realized you were in the top 3 ranked, and then eventually not ranked number 1 in the entire Zwift category A rankings. And so how did that all happen?
Well, it started out as a fun thing to do, just racing a lot in January. And then I saw that, wow, I'm top 10. So I stopped training as I normally do. And in February, I just raced. I had like 5 or 6 races a week, and picked out the ones that I know are giving a lot of ranking points. And suddenly, I was ranked number 1. So it was fun.
Yeah, and I started racing also sort of in the fall, and I joined this team called Innovation that Sam's riding for. And so I did a little bit of racing for that team, and that's how I sort of caught on to Samuel and some other riders. And they have a really neat program within the team with lots of training and sort of social media stuff. So it's a pretty cool setup.
It helps out with a good team also in the big races, where you can help each other out with some team tactics.
Yeah.
Well, so it's a great help.
Yeah, you even often sometimes do the gaming with the gaming app and talk to each other during the races.
And someone screaming at you that's push harder.
Yeah.
So it helps.
Nice. Yeah, absolutely. And then but then recently you won the Swedish championship. And then,
yep.
I'm not up to date, but at one point they actually took you out of the results, and
yep.
they had sent some emails back and forth. Can you get into that a little bit for us?
Well, it's a very long story, but I will try to keep it a little bit shorter.
Sure.
I won the nationals, and then they do some testing on the winners. And I sent in my outdoor files from last summer, and that's the same files that they approved when they were Sevas or Sada last year. But this time they didn't approve of that.
Okay, I'll just stop you there. Interrupt for a second. So within the Zwift umbrella, there's an agency called Zada, and they're trying to make it professional, that they sort of police results and make sure that riders are following the rules and all this stuff. And so they kind of, because Samuel's so unknown, well, in my opinion, because he's so unknown, they really kind of went after him, looking for data and all this, because he's beating all the best guys in the game. And anyway, you can carry on there.
Yeah, and so they didn't approve those files this time. Why, I don't really know. Then why they want to have new files. But then I tried to explain, it's February up here, minus 25 degrees and 1 meter of snow. So then they sent me a Neo trainer to do some tests on. I ride on a kicker myself, but then I wanted a Neo to test me.
Right.
So I had, from the moment I picked it out, I had 24 hours to do the tests. And it was 2 tests. It was one 5-minute max, and then 15 seconds sprints.
And this then you had to do spontaneously in the middle of your training week, with having done races the days before and everything.
Yeah, I did the test on Friday. Wednesday I did 2 races. Thursday 2 races. I was in a hard training block. So I did this on Friday morning. Each test was about 50 minutes long. It was ramping up to a 5 minutes all out, and then ramping up to 15 seconds sprints. I did the 5 minute first, and there I did 490 watts for 5 minutes. And after that, then directly on to the 15 seconds test. I did, I think 150 watts below my max on 15 seconds on that test. But I thought that, okay, well, my legs are totally broken, so I tried to explain that and thought that, well, it will be okay anyway. So I sent those files in, sent back to Neo. Then it was, I think I sent 2 mails just asking how it was going with the analyzing of the data and all that. Had no answers. 2.5 weeks after this, I got a mail where it stood that I will not be the national champion because they don't approve of my tests.
So, I mean, what?
No explanation.
Yeah, I mean, looking at that in context, that's a huge amount of power. Yeah, you do a little bit more in races, but of course you're going to do more in races. And yeah, it sounds just completely nuts.
Yeah, and no explaining why and it. So I think that morning I was sending them 4 or 5 mails, just wanted explaining why. Nothing. So I haven't heard nothing from them since then. And no explaining, nothing. I've had people try to contact them from other directions, but nothing. They are very secret.
This is really bizarre because, I mean, something like this should be open communication, and yeah, it just seems like you're not one of their guys, and you're beating their Zwift Academy team guys and all their best guys, and it just can't happen. So they just want to kind of, sounds like they just kind of want to erase you, pretend that you're not beating all these guys, and yeah, it's pretty silly. But other than the Swedish Championship, that hasn't affected any of your other rankings and such?
No, nothing of that.
Okay.
It's just the nationals.
Right.
What I don't understand what the SADA will do in the future is that they will take riders from the big races and testing them randomly, I think. But I don't really know yet how it's supposed to be done.
I guess there is a push to really turn this e-racing into into something fairly big. So I guess they got organizations and everything sort of working on it so they can make it legitimate. But yeah, I mean, you gotta follow. It just doesn't seem like that's a professional way to work. When
I think you need a conversation about it. Just talking and explaining why. And if they had said that, well, your 15 seconds were too bad, and we do not accept that it was the same day and all that things. Okay, then I can buy it, but not saying anything. Feels so strange. Because if you fail a drug test in real life, then you know. Then you have to explain what have you taken, what did you find.
Yeah, absolutely. There's a whole data sheet and everything that you will get also before there's action taken. And so, but you also had at one point, didn't Alex West, who's the top amateur Zwifter in the game, he contacted you directly as well?
He's been writing things on Facebook and on social media. He's also been contacting me privately on Messenger.
Okay. So kind of trolling. What's the attitude of his comments and such?
Well, it's a little bit that he don't believe in me. That I'm 40 years old and have 3 children, so I won't be able to beat someone that's 23.
Yeah.
but I trained longer than he had lived, so
sure, yeah. But yeah, so that adds a little to it, to the story to me, is that yeah, the Zwift darling Alex West getting beat by you, and regularly. I mean, you were beating him almost every time for quite a while there.
Yeah, I have advantages on him anyway, so I think it stings a little bit.
Yeah, and so
it's not fun to be hit by a 40-year-old man.
Yeah, I can imagine, but there's better ways to deal with failure than just attacking. So it sounds to me like, yeah, he's gone after you a little bit personally, and then probably cried to the Zwift people that, oh, check this guy out, he lives way up in the woods in Sweden, and you know, it's not possible he's beating me. So yeah, it's just silly, and I hope it comes to a more realistic resolution. You know, on one side you probably think, yeah, it's just Zwift, I do it for fun and whatnot, but on the other side, you got into it and you race hard and you train hard for it. So just to strip your title away just because they don't believe it and they don't have proof on their side, you know. So it's kind of silly.
No, it's a little bit silly. And just to have paper on everything. I was yesterday to a sports lab in a bigger town up here, the biggest town in north of Sweden, and did a Wingate test in a lab, and I got my 30 seconds all out, but also they picked out my 15 seconds.
Okay.
Yes, so that we can see everything. So now I get it on paper.
Oh, with the actual lab and someone to sign it off and everything.
Yep, everything.
Nice. It will be interesting to see how that ends up then.
Yeah. See if they answer some mails soon.
And then, yeah, I guess we'll just move along from that. What do you got planned for this year? Are you going to keep going with the Zwift for a while, or you got some summer races planned and stuff like that?
Do Zwift for some weeks at least. We still have a lot of snow out here, so
yeah.
But we'll be more and more training outside and start racing outside May sometime, I think.
Okay.
So, and after that, it's, well, if it's a rainy day, I maybe go in and do some Zwift.
Yeah, we got snow last night, so we had some decent weather, and then we got snow last night, so I'll be indoors for a little while. I think I'll do a little race tonight myself. But and then you said something about were you going to go to the European MTB Marathon Championships this year, or?
Yes, that's the big goal this year.
Yeah.
I have been racing here in Sweden in the elite category for 8 years, approximately. But this year, well, I turned 40 this year, so I thought that I would give it a try in the Masters, especially when the Marathon European Championship is in Norway this year.
Oh, nice.
So that's a big goal for this season. And after that, it's the first weekend of July, I think. After that, it will be. I would really like to try some road racing.
Yeah.
To go out. So I hope for that in July and August.
Yeah, that would be fun to see because, yeah, with your power numbers, you would, if you got the feel for road racing, you should do really well there with that kind of sprint. But,
it should be fun. Just testing, and as you say, you need a feel for how you would move in the peloton and everything. But
yeah.
Well, give it some races and see.
Nice.
How it goes.
Yeah, we'll be watching out for that. And I'm actually going to backtrack because I missed one of my points I wanted to dig into a little bit, and then that'll probably be it. Was it 2 years ago you totally broke your femur.
Yeah.
Tell us a little about that one, because that's a bit of a story.
Yeah, I was 2016.
Yep.
2015, I had my best season so far. I was fifth place on the Nationals marathon race in the elite category. And 2016, I was really good shape starting the season. But in the first race, I had a big crash in approximately 60 km an hour.